And I'll hit the record to the cloud.
Cool. We're live on YouTube. Welcome,
Lovely.
everybody. Welcome.
Welcome, Rob. How you going?
I'm amazing today. Thanks. We were just saying before we hit the record button, it's beautiful and sunny and hot where we are. Tony's just outside of Melbourne. I'm in Perth, and we're loving it. We we have missed all of the Queensland downpours and stuff. So if you're in Queensland, our hearts go out to you. Just jump on a plane, get over here to WA or pop down to Melbourne. You can dry out for a bit.
That's it. So we're on the eve of our first of our GrowCon conferences tomorrow in Melbourne. So excited and looking forward to that. So for anyone that's watching now, we're 11th of March in 2025.
Yep.
Rob and I are here to give you a bit of an overview of eXp Realty and what you can expect from the model as an agent if you choose to join. My name's Tony Fanfuller. I've been with eXp probably about 18 months in the role as a Victorian licensee. And young Robert over there is in Perth as the WA licensee. And I think he's been around nearly 5 years since the beginning
Since the
in
beginning in
Australia.
Australia.
And
Lucky.
that's it.
Yeah. Well, as
And
we
in
as we
that,
jump into talking
go ahead,
about
Rob.
this, I was just going to say, as we jump into talking about this, it's an interesting thing that we do at eXp Realty in the sense that we like to talk and explain our model. And, and because we're very proud of it, because it's very agent focused and very agent centric, it's interesting within our industry, which is a wonderful industry. It can be so life changing for people. Not everyone wants to talk about their model and how that works, like we've got everything in our industry, as Tony well knows. I'm just rehashing and setting the framework. In our industry, we've got, you know, independents, which those could be small, medium, large, extra large in size, and they come with their strengths and benefits. You've got franchises, which they come in different sizes and scope, and some are global, some are local, some are whatever, and they have their benefits and whatnot. And then you've got offerings within the cloud-based space. Which is where eXp plays and where we shine. And where we're leading the pack, not just here in Australia, but globally, with over 80,000 agents globally are partnered with eXp. We're in 24 countries, moving to 27 countries. We're just coming into Egypt, Peru, and Turkey. So exciting times for us here at eXp. Tony, do you want to give us just a little bit of a rundown on how eXp started
Sure.
and the journey that Glenn Sanford, our founder, went on?
Yeah, so Glenn, our founder, started life as a real estate, actually a mortgage broker, I think he was originally, but in real estate in the early 2000s and reached a point in his career in 2009, which was an auspicious time because we were just coming out of the GFC and decided that there's got to be a better way. And the bricks and mortar offices were no longer as important. And for any of you that have been in real estate for some time, you're probably, if you're in an office now, you're probably aware that there's not too many people walking in anymore or standing in the window looking at your properties. In fact, many offices don't even have a window anymore, lucky if they have one big flashy TV screen. But Glenn founded the company, and the agenda certainly was to create the most agent-centric real estate company in the world, brokerage as they call it in the US. Um, and since then, the company's grown. In 2013, was listed on the NASDAQ, stock code EXPI, and that's an important part because shares in the company are certainly something that all agents that are part of the model get the benefit of being gifted shares and earning shares in different ways. And as Rob said, I think we just might have ticked over the 84,000 and coming on to 27 countries. And this last couple of weeks, certainly a lot of the conversation we're seeing online and socially is that as a member of eXp, as an agent, and for us it's in Australia, we can work completely globally with any agent that's an eXp agent in any of those other 26 countries. We can refer business, we can work with their buyers or leads or whatever the circumstances are for our clients to look after them. And there's a lot of people that are moving into overseas and internationally these days. It's become quite fluid. especially post-COVID. Travel is now quite ramped back up again, and we can pretty much go into any country, find agents there that are eXp of those countries, and work in Regis offices, which we'll talk about, in those countries. So it's a company that the model suits many different styles. There's no one type of agent that we're looking for. There's no single reason that you may want to join eXp or investigate cloud-based. We'll tell you the benefits of what the cloud-based model is for an agent, and there are many. And then you can make a decision as to whether that fits for you, and it'll fit for you, I think, in different stages of your career. So that's the background till now. Glenn has a vision of 60 countries within the next 5 years, and 1 million agents worldwide. So it's a big vision, and we're certainly all along for the ride. The company has the wherewithal and the resources to be able to make that happen. It's not just a hope and pray type of circumstance. I know of a handful of countries now that are on the next list, and they're going to happen. So it's just a matter of finding people like Rob and myself who are on the ground in those countries that want to be looking after the expansion on the ground, and they will move into those countries. So looking forward to hearing more on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we can come back and just talk specifically about our business model, um, as we said, there are independents, there are franchises, there are cloud-based. The way that our model works is that we provide everything that a real estate agent or sales representative needs to do business in the state they are in. We go from from go to woe. We have the paperwork, the CRMs, the support systems, the technology, everything that an agent needs so that they can just focus on listing and selling property. I recently had a conversation with somebody that joined eXp within the last couple of months, and they said they were used to being in a traditional office. There's your desk, there's your phone, dial out, here's how to connect to the printer, that kind of stuff. And they're now working from home, working in cafes when they're meeting their clients or whatnot, or in their clients' homes, whatnot. And they said they're just absolutely loving the freedom, the lack of restrictions. We've all been in those locations, and maybe you're there now if you're watching this, where you might not even own your own phone number that's being marketed. You don't keep your own data. You're not allowed to use a certain color. Like you can't go
And,
on that side of the street, Tony, because that's someone else's side of the
and
street.
that's it. And in a lot of cases, you can't put your own social media content out. You can't have your own social media handle, different things, and different
Can't
companies
have
will.
your own photo.
No, and that's okay. And those models, those franchise models, have they're the
It's just their way of
dominant
doing things.
agent. It's the way they do it. They're the dominant style of agent in Australia and in most of the world. But that's changing. There's
Yeah,
no longer just a handful of cloud-based agents. There are thousands now
yeah.
in Australia across different offerings. But for eXp, we certainly have a very unique offering to give you quite a unique experience. And as Rob said, you're going to have all the tools, those nuts and bolts things that you need just to be able to go out, meet the lead at their house, appraise the property, fill out the authority, load it on the CRM, get it online, get photos, put a board up, all those normal things all
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
And so there's nothing that's missed. Your vendor doesn't miss anything. Your buyer doesn't miss anything. So all of those things are available to you, and we'll talk about it in a bit more detail.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I have learned over time working with eXp is, we all get to make choices in life. Where like somebody once said, if you're not happy where you are, move. You're not a tree. So, but what I would say is there's two words that come to mind that are basically within our industry. One is abundance, and one is scarcity. And the thing I absolutely love about eXp is that it's all about abundance. There you can create your own destiny. You can go where you want to go. You can work with who you want to work with. You can do business as long as it's ethical and moral you can do business in the way that suits you. I should mention we're currently operational in Queensland, New South Wales, the state of Victoria, South Australia, and Western Australia, and we'll be moving into other states shortly. But if you're in those states, you can just literally do it turnkey and get going. Tony, talk us through a little bit about some of the tools that we get access to. So maybe going forward, we could talk a little bit about some of the tools we get access to, and then as well as some of the thank you gifts that eXp offers its agents in the form of equity and rev share. We'll talk about the investment that agents make to partner with eXp and how that works. And yeah, let's roll into that. You're on mute just at the moment, Tony, somehow.
There we go.
There we go.
It's the everyday thing. So if you're a real estate agent now, the number one thing you're going to use every day is a CRM. So a database where you're entering your contacts, your properties, that we provide for you.
Side note, you keep your data. Unlike some places, which this is a really big deal if you're a professional agent, rather than the data belonging to the company, it belongs to you. We don't do lock-in contracts with agents, so they keep their data. If for some reason they want to go somewhere else, that's fine. We just get them the CSV with all their data on it, and happy days, off they go.
Yep. So
sorry, I straight away interrupted. I said, Tony, can you
not
talk?
at all.
And then
It's
I'm
an important
straight
point,
interrupting
and you make the point also about there isn't a contract here, which we'll talk more about the model
Yeah.
or the offering later. But so CRM, the next thing you need is some data. So we have a subscription with RP data for you. The next thing you'll need is some forms. So you've got form subscriptions for authorities, contracts in some states, other types of documents, the Form 6s, statement of information, all the things pertinent to your state. So subscriptions in each state for those forms. We have vendor marketing funding options. So we are a vendor paid advertising model, and the vendors are paying upfront with their listings, and we have a couple of ways for them to pay, certainly from their own funds or using a low-cost finance option if they choose to. We have a secure document exchange or bank details exchange service. Well, the DocuSign is in there. You don't need your own DocuSign contract. We have HomePass with domain for your open for inspections. And since about December, we've now got Canva Pro for all agents globally. So that just means that you have unrestricted access in Canva for all of the tools to create your own
I've got to interrupt you again, Tony. Tell us for there might be an agent there. They're working in an office. It's a small office. They don't even know what Canva is because they're not allowed to dream like that. So,
yeah.
What does Canva do, and what can you do with Canva?
So Canva is a desktop design program, and I'm the first one to say I'm no designer. I'm pretty hopeless when it comes to being creative. But so you log into Canva, and there's a lot of templates already there, whether it's social media posts, listing presentations, DL cards, flyers, boards, whatever you can dream up. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of templates from agents all over the world, eXp agents, and from our head office, they're developing marketing tools. So you've got everything there. There's training on how to use it, but just the simple thing. If it's just something you want to get printed, a deal card, what I use it for most is for social media posts. So whether it's just developing a Facebook, Instagram type post, creating a little video, you can do that. It's all very easy to use. There's a GPT within Canva. If you just type your problem down in the little question box, it tells you process to how to use it. So really easy, but just means that you can look professional. Your own name, photo, the logos are all there. The templates are all there for colors and fonts and all of that sort of thing. So you're not going searching in your computer. You're not using Publisher or Word or all those things we used to use to create that type of content. There's no more of that. It's all done in a professional design tool that's easy to use and free within your subscription with eXp. So they're just a few of the
Just to
tools.
put a little bit more color on that, because I know Tony is very much template oriented. For those of you that are a little bit more creative like me, that means you're going rogue. Um, you, you have the ability to do video editing in that. You can do text overlays in that. You can add QR codes within that. You can design T-shirts within that or hoodies. You can design your DL cards, Christmas cards. You can just design everything. You can actually print those
Well,
through Canva.
yeah, I know Chris is our country leader, Chris Jansen, recently created some T-shirts, put the logo on, like what I've got on at the moment,
Yep.
and wanted. I think they had their guys. Some of them had their name on it as well.
Yeah.
They did the design in Canva, pressed the order button, and the T-shirts arrived.
Yep. So
Probably a
good.
couple of days
So
later.
good.
But everything's right there. Whether it's that type of thing, flags. There's a lot of resources there. So all of those things are provided for you, as well as access to um, tools that are new to us. Things like Home Hunter, which more information on that in the future. What else have I got on the list? Uh,
You got your
yeah.
paperwork, your documents, your listings, whatever.
Look, there's nothing you will need over and above our subscription in order to list and sell real estate.
Yeah.
Suppliers, so that's what I was going to touch on. Supplier access to suppliers, whether it's your own suppliers that you're using on in your history, might be a photographer or a board company, or suppliers that we may have accounts with. All of those things are exactly what you and your vendors need in order to market their properties for sale. Realestate.com domain, all of the portal subscriptions are already in place so that you don't need them yourself, if that's what you choose to use. So you've got everything in place for you to get the authority and get started in selling property.
And you're not alone. We've got 3 licensees across the country. If you couldn't if one of Tony's agents can't get a hold of him because he's tied up doing something, they can reach out to me. They can reach out to our other licensee just to talk through. Hey, this is my situation. This is where I need a little bit of a guidance. What do you see as my options? We're not experts in all state legislation, but what we are is very experienced agents that have been. This is why we all have gray hair, because we've been doing it long enough to capture that experience. Tony, let's talk a little bit about some of the thank you gifts that eXp offers its agents in the sense of equity and also in the sense of rev share.
Yeah, so there's a few ways there's multiple ways to earn an income through eXp. One of them's through commissions. That's obvious. The other way is then you are able to salary sacrifice or income sacrifice up to 5% of your commission. With that 5%, if you choose to do that, and you can turn this on and off and on and off, you will get a 5% discount on the EXPI shares with that 5% of your income. So straight away, you've made 5% on those shares on the day that they were traded. You can earn rewards I think it's first listing, $200 worth
300.
of
300.
$300 worth of $300 Australian dollars worth of shares are gifted to you as part of you getting your first listing.
Hey,
You,
thanks for being a part of eXp. Here's
yeah,
here's $300 worth of company stock.
that's right. And then when you get to $100,000 of gross commission in your anniversary year, we call that capping. So we'll talk about commission in a minute, but at $100,000, you get more shares
Yep.
gifted to you.
You've
And then
done
if
you've
you're
done
lucky
really
enough,
well. Here's some more thank you
yeah,
gifts.
that's it. And then if you're lucky enough to reach our icon status, which is our top 3 or 4% of agents, icon agents are reaching a couple of different criteria of gross commission income or numbers of sales achieved. You can earn up to $15,000 worth of shares for reaching icon status. And then if you, as an
Just another
icon,
thank you gift. I don't know, like
that's it,
it comes with a wonderful trophy, but the $15,000 worth of
a bit
shares is
better than the trophy. And then
that's
if you're,
I'll buy my own trophy, thanks.
And then as an Icon agent, you're invited to contribute to your fellow agent community through participation in training sessions. And Rob hosts the training sessions each fortnight with our Icon agents, and there could be 1 or 4 agents on a session. But as an Icon agent and contributing through those training sessions, you'll earn another $6,000 worth of shares. So all of those options, and then we talk about RevShare. So I'll pass that one to you.
Yeah, and so what I love about this is the fact that these are thank you gift bonuses, I think, that come alongside of being a part of eXp. They're not everyone cares about them. They're not, whatever, but you should know about them. So the way that agents join eXp is they are normally referred by another eXp agent. So we use this kind of referral style. And
Sponsored.
yeah, we call it sponsored or whatnot. So you will sponsor an agent, or you would be sponsored by an agent to join eXp. But as a thank you gift, I've talked to a lot of agents that have worked in a lot of different brands and models and whatnot. And sometimes there's a thank you, a verbal thank you for referring an agent to a brand. Sometimes there's a coffee or movie voucher. Sometimes there's maybe a small cash payment or whatnot as a referral.
Nearly always there's nothing.
Sometimes there's nothing. It just depends. It's just like, oh, great, thanks, another competitor in my marketplace. And then, but the way that eXp has chosen to do that is just to say thank you with a recurring revenue stream from the company's side of the commission split. So if you were to introduce an agent, let's say, then you would get, as they are settling deals up until they reach the 100,000 mark that Tony spoke of, which we call the cap, and we'll explain that in more detail in a second. You'll get a small portion of the company side of the commission from that. And it's just the company's way of saying thank you. This isn't the place to do a deep dive on that, but just know that it's pretty attractive. It's equivalent to referring property management rental referrals if you're in a current environment where that happens. Tony, let's talk a little bit more about the commission split so we can go do a little bit deeper dive with that and just explain how that works.
Yeah, so this is, as Christopher calls it, the deal. So the
The
deal
deal.
is it's a 75-25 split, 75 to you, the agent, up to the first $100,000 in your year, your anniversary year. And an anniversary year starts the month that you started. So if you join today on the 11th of March, your anniversary year is going to start the 1st of April. And then during that year, when you pass $100,000, up to $100,000, you would have earned 75, and the company would have earned 25. After that $100,000 and until the end of your year, you'll keep 100% of the commission that you earn. So 75% up to 100, that's the cap. 100% thereafter until the end of that year. And I don't know any other model that pays quite as much as that. Most agents, I worked a lot of my career on 36%. A couple of increments when we were lucky, different circumstances, 40, 45%, things like that. But to get 75 and then 100 and is outstanding offering for someone that's turning over in plus the $100,000, which as most real estate agents that are employed, I think would. If you're in a job now, I don't think that many of you would be having passed 12 months in your employment career and not grossed $100,000 of gross commission to the office, to your employer. And we're able to do that because there's no layers. So there's no office manager, there's no franchise manager, there's no state manager, there's no corporate.
No one's clipping the ticket along the way.
It's you and the public company,
eXp.
in
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah.
And the public company is only ever going to take that $25,000 of the first 100 in each year off you, and you get to keep the rest after 100. So the other side of that is there are some costs. So you're going to pay a monthly fee of $250 plus GST, and you're going to get all of those things I mentioned earlier, CRMs,
So
update, and all of that.
275, and it's 275 to join. There's a joining fee of 275. 275 a
including
month.
GST. So you're going to pay what's that, about 3,300 a year in your
something like that.
subscription fee, and then get access to all of those revenue streams that we've spoken about, and that 100%
That
commission.
gives you access to Canva Pro, gives you access to RP Data, it connects you through to Home Pass, it connects you through, it gives you, each state has its own subscription to the different portals, depending on what the agents in that state want to do. And so, but it does give you access to all your portals. It gives you access to DocuSign technology. It gives you access to Secure Exchange, where we can exchange trust account details. It gives you access to being able to provide client funding for the needs for VPA, et cetera, like that. For all that, we take care of all the trust accounting. We do all that. Tony, I think it's important that we highlight here, just while we're at this particular junction, there are a couple of different types of people that can join eXp. Not everyone can join eXp. Let's just talk briefly about ICAs and commission only.
Yeah. So fully licensed agents, or whatever they may be referred to in your state, can join eXp as an independent contractor. And then in Victoria, we call them agents reps. In class 2 in other states, whatever you refer to them as, can join as a commission-only employee. With the commission-only employees, we're governed by Fair Works MITRE laws. So there's a certain income you must have made in sales commissions, sometimes during the past 3 years, to comply, so that we're allowed, if you like, to employ you. We don't pay a retainer, so we can't overcome the MITRE laws by paying a retainer, which may be the situation you're in now in an office. So there's the only type of agent that we are unable to accept is a new person, a beginner. If you're a beginner and maybe only been in the job for a few months, that's probably the, up to the 12-month mark, it's probably the only person that we're unable by law to employ. But if you're fully licensed, you can come on any state that you've got that license in, and join eXp.
And you can come. A lot of people want to, they might have their own brand established and whatnot, where they themselves, or maybe themselves and their wife or whatnot, are doing business in a location, and they're looking for a little time freedom. They don't want to necessarily process all the filing. They don't want to necessarily process all the trust accounting. eXp is a wonderful fit for that situation, because we'll do all the trust accounting for you. You can work jointly with us or in conjunction with us. You can have your brand powered by eXp, so you don't lose that branding in the marketplace. That's not available to commission-only agents. Commission-only agents need to work under the eXp brand. But there are a lot of things that we can do to accommodate people. And just thinking back, you were saying something before, and it just reminded me of a conversation that I had with somebody who's now joined us. I had the conversation maybe 4 months ago, 5 months ago. They were working at a very well-known international brand, right? Great brand, great people running that business, like no issues around that. But when they did the maths, we had a coffee and they were doing the maths, and they were going like, where is the hidden cost here? So I said, look, let's make this really easy for you. They had recently completed their taxes from the year before. And I said, so what was your top line that you wrote? What was it? And I think from memory, it was about 535, which was really good going, in the area there. They wrote, anyone writing
Anyone
535,000.
doing 535 is doing the
Tick,
job.
tick, tick.
Big time.
And I said to this person, so the easiest way to work out the difference of what you would have made there and what you would have made at eXp is just take off the 25,000 that you would have on that first 100,000. So that plus some expenses. So I said, give or take off 30 grand off of that, just for ease of calculations, because some of us aren't really into the whole maths side of it. So I can remember she wrote down on the napkin like 535. So I just take 30 grand off of that. Yeah. So she did that. And I said, okay, so that would be your pre-tax take home. She's like, what?
What about the other chunk I've got to take off?
Yeah.
There isn't one.
And then we compared where she was, and again, she was happy working in that environment. It was a great, national, international brand, whatnot. Um, I can't remember, but I think her pre-tax take home under that scenario was about 360. So she was on a good wicket there.
But
Um,
still 150 grand behind.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I talked to her about, or talked to them about, so when you divide that out by 12 months, it's costing you about 13 and a half, $14,000 to be in that environment. Are you getting value for money?
Mm.
Never thought of it that way.
Yeah. Look,
Never.
it's a hard thing to get your head around when you hear it for the first time. And some of the things Rob's touched on, and I think most people are concerned when they go out on their own. I'm going to go and work for myself. How am I going to cover everything? How am I going to do everything other than the actual job?
Yeah.
And that's what Rob touched on. We'll do the trust accounting. We pay your suppliers. Okay, so there's no sitting up at night writing checks to your photographer and your board company or anything like that. They're all handled by us. So our goal is that everything you need to list and sell real estate is part of the model, and that's all you do. List and sell
Yeah.
real estate, and hopefully get to a point where you're keeping 100% of the commission year after year after year.
A couple of things that I want to cover before we finish today's session is, Tony, we get asked a couple of questions. I'm used to working in an office. What about an office? How does that all work? Which we can touch on the Regis solution for that. And then um, also, what about training? So
Mm.
if we talk briefly on
Mm.
the office setup first, then we'll talk a little bit about training opportunities, etc. And then that'll be it. So
Yeah, and support, which training and support sort of go
yeah,
together.
yeah,
Uh, Look, with the offices, for most of our agents, each of them are working from home. They've set up whatever home office arrangement they may have done, and I think every agent would have some sort of space at home to be sitting down with a laptop and working. But if you're out in the field and you'd like to meet a client or just do some work out in the field, or you might be traveling interstate or overseas, we have a relationship with Regis, who are a global office uh, supplier. They
shared
supply
working
office
space.
space, workspace, where you can, for at no cost, go into that Regis office, use their common areas at no cost. So they're all very different, but you can imagine a cubicle or a bench or an open area, or they might have an outdoor garden type area as well. Any of those type of things, you can use that space at no cost to you, meet a client, work on your own, whatever it is you need to do. But one of the most freeing things is having that office at home and being able to, control your time at home in your own environment with your family if you choose to.
I know some agents have had a concern where um, you and I are old enough and been in the industry long enough to know that we were sold the scenario where you need the office location, you need the brand to be successful in
Mhm.
real estate, As you mentioned before, not so many people coming into the office, not so many people looking in the windows, those kind of things. We often compare ourselves as an industry disruptor, like Netflix interrupted Blockbuster. I mean, we all remember going to Blockbuster with the kids, and they were wanting the jelly beans, the M&Ms, the popcorn, and the DVD was never there when you needed it, and all that kind of stuff. And I just say to an agent, like, so do you think that Netflix worries about they don't have an office? No, it's just pipes straight into somebody's house, and that's kind of what we're doing in the real estate space. We're
And,
providing that instant access.
certainly since I've joined eXp, all of my work, if it's not at home, it's at the vendor's address.
Yeah.
Whether it's meeting the vendor and listing the property or meeting the buyers and showing them the property. The houses we have for sale and my home office are the two places I need. And, that going back to the office and sitting there from 8 till 6 or 9 to 5, if you were lucky, is just not required anymore. And, you can work a lot more effectively in your own environment.
Yeah. Um, let's talk a little bit about training. Some people get lots of training in the organization they're currently with. If you come to eXp, you will get access to somewhere around 65 to 70 hours of fresh training each week. Now, we don't expect you to attend all that or to watch all that or to engage all that because your head will explode. But through our international connections and locally and in a state by state basis, we have between 65 and 70 hours of training. Now, that can be anything from the training that I've seen in the last fortnight has been anything about how to work the real estate process, how to professionally market and manage a property listing, how to build a website, how to like just how to manage your time, all these kinds of things. Anything that you could possibly want is just at your fingertips, and it's available if you're out doing work, it's available on replay. We have training on how to use our systems. Because you might be coming from one system, coming to ours. How do I do that? You mentioned support people. We've got dedicated support people that help from everything from onboarding straight through to your first listing to getting it online and marketed. You've got licensee support that can carry you through the middle of that. Once you have a deal, a contract in place, we've got our contracts team that they're all within Australia. They're handling that. You can email them. You can pick up the phone. There's a issue with that. And they'll help you all the way through the settlement, conveyancing, whatever is appropriate in your state. So really, there's just everything available to you.
Yeah, look, the training and support's incredible. And no, you can't stand up from your desk and walk into the boss's office and get some training or anything like that if you used to. But you're not even going to get up from your chair. You're going to click a button, all the training's there. You're going to access our support people all within seconds if that's what you need to do. I don't know that with the raft of people that are available to support you, I don't know that you'd ever wait for more than a few minutes. If one's not available, the other one will be. If you can't get me, you'll get Rob or whoever it might be. And the other amazing thing, you're on your own, but the collaboration between agents in Australia that I've watched over the past 18 months is incredible, of agents collaborating together, even if they're interstate, helping each other. If someone's on a Saturday afternoon got a problem and admin's not available at that point, other agents are just so quick to jump in and help. It's a real camaraderie that I've not seen even working in an office with colleagues.
Yeah, we run a nationwide chat, and if somebody's got an issue or needs a supplier for something or whatever, an agent could pop in 24/7, basically. Hey guys, does anyone know someone that can do this, or how do I do this? And there'll be some night owl somewhere or some early morning bird somewhere that'll jump into the chat and go, "Hey, have you thought about this? Have you heard about this resource? Do you know about this supplier?" And so it's really really a wonderful scenario. There's no farm areas to restrict where you can be. You just go and work with the clients that you want to work with, how you want to work with them, and just leave the hard stuff to us, and you just go and enjoy real estate again. Tony, is there anything else that we've missed?
Could talk for hours, but we'll
We
draw
could
the
definitely talk for
line.
hours. That's
Thanks
good.
for today, Rob.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. And for those of you watching this, if you have questions or whatnot, and someone suggested that you watch this video, one of our agents did, please go back to them. They'll be able to provide all the answers that you might have about it. And if they don't know, they'll be able to reach out to us.
And
If you just happen to come across this video somehow, you can just do a Google search for Tony Fanfolo or Rob Davis at eXp in Australia, and our details will pop up. Give us a buzz. We'd be
if you'd
happy to
like to
answer any
find an
questions.
agent locally to you to talk with directly, if you jump onto
Perfect.
expaustralia.com.au, you can search in the state. All the agents are there, all their contact details. If you find someone you think you'd like to connect with that might have some listings in your marketplace or nearby, so you want to speak to them direct, please just pick up the phone and call them. All of them would be absolutely more than happy to speak to you and talk to you about their experience.
Yep. And as we always say in the words of our founder, we're here to help agents whether they come to eXp or not. Because why? We believe in abundance. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for
Thank
joining us
you.
and have a great week.